Welcome to Sound Unlimited for all things newsy, juicy, sporty, tasty, and more.
The Judicial Conduct Tribunal, chaired by retired Judge President Selby, will resume on 30 June. It is probing sexual harassment allegations leveled against the Judge President of the Eastern Cape, Selby Mbenenge. Gender expert Lisa Vetten will take the stand, and after her cross-examination by Mbenenge's legal representatives, it's expected that the man himself, Mbenenge, will then testify. In January, the tribunal had damning evidence against him from the complainant. Considering that this is the first complaint of sexual harassment that the judiciary has to deal with, excluding the magistracy, of course, how this complaint is dealt with sets a precedent. The Code of Judicial Conduct under Article 5 requires that a judge must always, and not only in the discharge of official duties, act honorably and in a manner befitting judicial office. The article further states that all activities of a judge must be compatible with the status of judicial office. The integrity of the judiciary hangs in the balance because of these allegations of sexual harassment against the most senior judge in the Eastern Cape. The testimony given by Mengo was to the effect that she feared that if she spoke out against Judge President Mbenenge, she would lose her job. Here are some of the highlights of Mengo's testimony.
Mr. Interpreter, I see there's also a causa word in that sentence, but the one which stands JP, the one on top of the green box. Can you please give us the translation of that sentence?
The word is ayiko. I will take it as ayiko.
No. The one, please send juicy pic before.
Before ulale, sorry, before you sleep.
So the respondent sent you a message, please send juicy pic before you sleep. What did you understand by that?
Intoni ke owayiqondisisayo okanye owayivayo wena ke ngalamyalezo uthi ke ndithumele ke ndicela uthumele ke le juicy pic ngaphambi kokuba ulale. Wena wava ntoni kulo myalezo lo?
Ndava into bangoku ufuna mna ndimthumelele ipicture ezakonelisa yena engeyo eyangalo mhlaba ungezantsi yam.
I understood him to be requesting me to send him a pic that will satisfy him. That is now a pic of my private part.
Complaint that he thought that you consented to the sexual communications.
UJP ke ekuphenduleni kwakhe ke kwisimangalo esi uthe ayiphendula yena wayecinga okokuba ngaba ke wena ke wawuvu okanye ke lento esenzeka okanye ke incoko eziphathelene ke nezesondo wena into leyo owawuvumelana nayo.
Did you at any point consent to receiving sexual messages from the Judge President?
Ingaba nikhona na ilixa apho khona ke waye wavuma wena ke okokuba ngaba ke ni benale ncoko ephathelene nezesondo kanye naye uJudge President?
Hayi, zange ndivumelane naye.
No, I never consented.
Were you in a romantic relationship with the Judge President?
Ingaba wawuthandana na neJudge President?
Hayi, zange ndithandana naye.
I was never in a love relationship with him.
Now, when we listen to your evidence, at various points in your WhatsApp communications with the Judge President, when he made sexual comments, you seem to respond with comments of a sexual nature. You recall that?
Xa ke ngoku siye silandele sifunde ke imiyalezo lena kuye uWhatsApp ebethi ke xa eveza okanye banentetho ephathelene ke nezesondo evela kuye uJudge President ufumaniseka kuba nawe ubuye uphendule kwangolo hlobo nawe.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Why did you do that?
Bekutheni ze ukwenze oko?
Sithetha ngomuntu apha powerful.
Yeah, we are talking about a powerful person.
Sithetha ngomuntu ophethe province apha.
We are talking about someone who is in charge of the entire province.
Bekunzima ukuthi hayi kuye noxa nditshilo izihlandlo ngezihlandlo ndisithi hayi engandiva.
It was difficult to say no to him, although I said no on numerous occasions, and he did not listen to that or hear my no.
More than anything, bendisoyika indlela azandiphatha ngayo emsebenzini.
I was scared of how he was going to treat me at work,
Ngoba ndiyazi into bezandenza yona.
because I don't know what he was going to do to me.
And then the respondent replied to your "don't ask me" with Python with a question mark at 7:05 that evening.
Wabuya yena sele ekubuza apha ngomzuzu emihlanu emveni kwensimbi yesixhenxe esithi Python wafaka uphawu lombuzo.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
What did you understand by that message?
Uqonde ntoni wena ngalo myalezo?
Ndiqonde uba uthetha nge-private party yakhe.
My understanding was that he is now talking about his private part.
Proceed.
Thank you. Can we get the translation of the message at 1926 from the respondent?
1926 from the respondent on page 1255. Buke wedwa. Watch it alone.
And the reply by the complainant at 1926?
The response of 1926 in green, Semandi, it's nice.
And then the next message from the respondent at 1927?
Deep nto, it's a question. Deep thing.
And then at 1927 there was a response by the complainant. Can we get the translation of that, please?
Uyicime ndingekagqibi uyacaca uphela esithubeni. You deleted it before I could finish. It is clear you go halfway.
It is clear that you?
You go halfway.
And this is?
The response in a green box chair on 1927, page 1255.
All right. So now you received this message that was deleted and you replied with the running emojis and said, "I'm sorry." Then there was a message that was deleted and just below it the respondent said, "Watch it alone." So was one of those messages a video that was forwarded to you? Or was it a picture?
Kukho lo myalezo ye wacinywa apha emveni koba uphendule ngabasisi babalekayo nalo uhlekayo uxolisa kwacinywa umyalezo wathumela lento ethi buke wedwa ibi video lento kanye ibili photo
Ibi picture a collage okanye ngqokelela ye pictures.
Sorry, I'm going to ask this question myself.
Okay.
Below the message about "I'm sorry," there's a deleted message. Do you recall what that message was?
Ezantsi kwale myalezo wakho uxolisayo kuwo kukhona umyalezo ocinyiweyo uyawukhumbula lo wawucinyiweyo ba umbungantoni umyalezo
Ewe sihlalo.
Yes chair.
Yes, Advocate Pretorius, you can proceed.
What was that message about?
Ubungantoni ke lo myalezo lo ucinyiweyo
Njengoba bendisitsho ibi collage pictures zendlela okanye sexual positions or sex positions. Different sex positions, sorry.
It was a collage or collection of different sexual positions in sex.
Wandibuza ke umbuzo.
He asked me a question.
What was that question?
Usithini umbuzo lowo?
Wabuza wathi, do you see how much effect you have on me?
Sorry, we did not all hear that response by you. Can you repeat that, please?
Okay, bathi ke ayingabo bonke abavela impendulo ungayiphinda uyiphinde.
Ayompendulo ngumbuzo wakhe.
It's not a response, it was a question from him. Uthi wena ngohlobo uyichaze ngalo bathi abayivanga xa unobaphindela nje.
What do you see how much effect you have on me?
While he asked you that question, what happened?
Ekukubuzeni kwakhe umbuzo lowo kwaye kwenzeka ntoni?
Ngokwanibuzayo ukhomba ebhulukhweni yakhe ngaphambili.
As he was asking me, he was pointing towards his pants at the front part.
Ndibonile ke uba kukho iqhuma elikhoyo njengoba bezama ephuthaphutha izipho.
I could see that there was, I just want the proper word for iqhuma. I would show the face was sort of like a ball in front, as he was busy fiddling with his zip.
And Ms. Interpreter, can we get the translation first of that message from the respondent at 2231?
At page 1208, they timed it's 22:31. You reckon kungancazelwana this week? It's a question. And the word kungancazelwana, the translation of that would be, you reckon we can be intimate this week? Obviously with a little monkey as the emoji.
And it was followed directly thereafter by 3 monkey emojis closing their eyes at 2231.
Kwasuka kwangoko ke emveni koko kwaphinda kwalandeliswa ke ngonkawana aba bavale amehlo abathathu ngo-2231.
Ewe ndiyayibona kunjalo.
Yes, I see it. That is so.
When this message came through that night, how did it make you feel?
Ukungena kwalo umyalezo ngoba busuku yakwenza waziva njani?
Ndaba nayo indawo ecephukayo.
I had an element of being upset.
Then, Mr. Interpreter, I see the next message, 1948, there's one word at the end of that message that we need the translation for. If you can read the whole sentence with the translation of that one, please.
Okay. And your child will be worried to learn that at some point you will encounter large nto. Okay, the translation for nto, which is something.
What did you understand by this message from the respondent?
Wena ke uye lo myalezo lona wawuva kanjani kanye yintoni owayivayo ngalo myalezo okanye ebhekiswa ngomyalezo?
Ndiqonde okanye ndiyenda understand ngendlela yokuthi ngoku sethetha nge-genital part yakhe.
I understood him to be now referring to his genital part.
And he followed it with the next message at 1931. The respondent replied with half insertion.
Waphendula yena ngo-1931 ixesha esithi ethetha ngokufakwa nje iphele esithubeni.
Ewe waphendula kanjani?
Yes, he responded in this fashion.
What was this conversation about?
Le ncoko ke yona ibingantoni?
It was a sexual conversation. A sexual conversation.
It was a sexual conversation.
And then on those messages on 1257, you replied to his message where he said, it seems like you want to do just the top. You replied with the next message, foreplay kindles.
Uphendulile ke kula myalezo wakhe ebesithi ingathi ufuna kubethwe phezulu wena. Wathi wena foreplay kindles. Lanto kuba maqale kudlala iswane.
Ewe ndiphendule kanjalo.
Yes, I responded in that way.
Explain to us why did you respond in this way? And what did you mean?
Utheni lento uye waphendula ngola hlobo ibe ithethe ukuthini?
Ndiphendule ngolo hlobo kuba ebefuna iphume kum uba ndithanda SCP style, and before senze ekwenziwe okanye kwenzeke eso style kufuneka kwenzeke ntoni.
I responded in this manner because he wanted this to come from me in telling as to before anything happens, which style do I like, and before we do the style, what must first take place or what must happen first.
Can you recall what those messages were about that you had to reply in this way?
Usakhumbula ukuba le miyalezo le yacinywayo yayingantoni lento yabangela into ba uphendule ngohlobo waphendula ngalo?
Enye yawo yayi private part.
One of them was a private part.
Male or female?
Yeyomuntu ongutata okanye yomuntu ongumama?
Eyomuntu ongumama, I mean ongutata.
It was a male private part.
Can you recall what the other one was?
Iyakhumbula uba enye le imessage yona yayingantoni?
Andikhumbuli.
No, I don't recall.
Then at 11 o'clock, the respondent sent 3 messages again that was deleted.
Ngentsimbi yeshumi elinanye ngokuhlwa waphinda kwakhona yena urespondent wathumela imiyalezo mithathu wayicima.
Ewe kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And just beneath that, there was a message that the respondent replied to on one of his own messages. And it looks like it must have been one of those that were deleted, where he said, yours please, with 2 eyes looking. He replied to that with the 2 eyes.
Kuyabonakala ke apha into ba uthathe umyalezo bewubhalile esicinga into yoba uye umyalezo lo kule miyalezo ibicinyiwe wafaka phaya amehlo ajongileyo apha ngasentla kula mehlo kukho isicelo apha ukuba cela eyakho.
What was he referring to when he said yours, please?
Uthetha ngantoni xa ecela eyakho apha ebethetha ngantoni?
ebethetha nge-private part yam.
He was referring to my private part.
He invited me to come to his office and I went inside. He showed me his trouser and said, "Do you see the effect that you have on me?" He unzipped his pants and took out his erect penis, and I ran out of the office. I went home and thought about what had happened. Then I decided that on the following morning I will tell him where to get off, and if needs be, I'll request footage that showed me getting inside his office and going out.
Thanks for watching.